Hey everybody, this is Allison from Allykatkreations. How are you? Book of Enoch time. Before I start, I might have to put these annoying blue light glasses on because the other day my eyesight got super blurry and it was really annoying to me. So if you see lots of shiny things coming off my face, it's that fault. Also, like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if anybody can help me out with a love donation, I'd appreciate it. Anything helps. I'm in not fun times. And let's just put this out there. One of my representatives from where I live was on the positive list. Her name is Nicole. And I've written her numerous times asking for job help, asking for her to stand up for people like me. And nope. And you would think your elected official, I'm not the only one that's in my situation, would be more understanding and try to do for the people that, you know, they represent. Zero. So now I know why she tested positive for a certain something. And I hope she has fun at the spa, south of Florida. Because her non-answering emails, even her staff, just to say thank you, we'll look into your concern, nada. And I left a Facebook message, I didn't get anything back. And no one deleted it. So, script, it's all scripted. Anywho, Keys of Enoch. Sorry, Book of Enoch. I want to say keys because it's urging me to read it again, but it's not the divine timing just yet. I don't want to confuse people. Two different books. A lot of content. But yeah, sorry. Book of Enoch. I'm going to pick up where I left off on the last video. Okay, let's hope I don't have to put glasses down. After this, the name of the Son of Man, living with the Lord of Spirits, was exalted by the inhabitants of the earth. It was exalted in the chariots of the Spirit, and the name went forth in the midst of them. From that time I was not drawn in the midst of them, but he satted me between two spirits, between the north and the west, where the angels received their ropes to measure out a place for the elect and the righteous. There I behold the fathers of the first men and the saints who dwell in the place forever. Afterwards, my spirit was concealed, ascending into the heavens. I believe the sons of the holy angels treading on flaming fire, whose garments and robes were white, and whose countenance were transparent as crystals. I saw two rivers of fire glittering like the hyacinth. Then I fell on my face before the Lord of Spirits, and Michael, one of the archangels, took me by my right hand, raised me up, and brought me out to where was every secret of mercy and secret of righteousness. He showed me all the hidden things of the extremities of heaven, all the receptacles of the stars, and the splendors of all. from whence they went forth before the face of the holy. And he concealed the spirit of Enoch in the heaven of heavens. There I beheld, in the midst of that light, a building raised with stones of ice. And in the midst of these stones, vibrations of living fire. My spirit saw around the circle of this flaming habitation, on one of its extremities, that they were rivers full of living fire, which encompassed it. Then the seraphim, the cherubim, and the orphanim surrounded it. These are those who never sleep, but watch the throne of his glory. And I beheld angels innumerable, thousands of thousands, and myriads, who surrounded that habitation. Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, Uriel, and the holy angels who were in the heavens above went in and out of it. Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel went out of the habitation, and holy angels innumerable. With them was the Ancient of Days, whose head was white as wool and pure, and his robes was indescribable. When I fell upon my face, while all my flesh was dissolved, and my spirit became changed, I cried out with a loud voice, with a powerful spirit, blessing, glorifying, and exalting. And those blessings which proceeded from my mouth became acceptable in the presence of the Ancient of Days. The Ancient of Days came with Michael and Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel, with thousands of thousands and myriads, which could not be numbered. Then that angel came to me, and with his voice saluted me, saying, Thou art the offspring of man, who art born from righteousness, and righteousness has rested on thee. The righteousness of the Ancient of Days shall not forsake thee. He said, On thee shall be comfort, peace, in the name of the existing world. For from hence has peace gone forth since the world was created. And thus shall it happen to thee forever and ever. All who shall exist and all who shall walk in thy path of righteousness shall not forsake thee forever. With thee shall be their habitations, with thee their lot, nor from thee shall they be separated forever and ever. And thus shall length of days be with the offspring of man. Peace shall be to the righteous, and the path of integrity shall the righteous pursue, in the name of the Lord of spirits forever and ever. That's very interesting. I'm going to put a pause. I'm curious if that process that Enoch took, here's my co-host, to become, I don't know if they're going to say that he's Metatron. Just putting that little hint out there, because I think Enoch is Metatron. Just my own thing. It's okay if he isn't. But I feel like that's something that we might experience, and not to the extreme, but something similar of a transformation when we ascend, which would be happening soon, I'd hope. I wonder if you can hear her purring. It's really loud. Why don't you say hi to everybody? My co-host is literally, look, right there. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I'm very curious. Write in the comments if that sounds something that could happen. Not saying it will, but it's very interesting, to say the least. And I would encourage, I mean, hello, if that could happen to us, hell yeah. I want the angels to come and get me. I want to see all that fun stuff. Why not? Who wouldn't want to see that? The book of the revolutions of the luminaries of heaven, according to their respective classes, their respective powers, their respective periods, their respective names, the places where they commence, their progress, and their respective months, which Uriel, the holy angel who was with me, explained to me, he who conducts them, the whole account of them, according to every year of the world, forever, until the new work shall be effected, which will be eternal. My co-host is grumpy. Can't find a spot for herself. This is the first law of the luminaries. The sun and the light arrive at the gates of heaven, which are on the east, and on the west it at the western gates of heaven. I beheld the gates whence the sun goes forth, and the gates where the sun sets, in which gates also the moon rises and sets. And I beheld the conductors of the stars, among those who precede them. 6 gates were at the rising and 6 at the setting of the sun. All these respectively, one after another, are on a level, and numerous windows are on the right and on the left sides of those gates. First proceeds forth the great illuminary, which is called the sun, the orb of which is as the orb of heaven, the whole of it being replete with splendid and flaming fire. I'm going to hold my commentary. Its chariot, where it ascends, the winds blows. The sun sets in heaven, and returning by the north to proceed towards the east, is conducted to as to enter by the gate and illuminate the face of heaven. In the same manner, it goes forth in the first month by a great gate. It goes forth through the 4th of those 6 gates, which are at the rising of the sun. And in the 4th gate, through which the sun with the moon precedes it in the first part of it. There are 12 open windows, from which issues out a flame when they are opened at their proper periods. Pause, pause, pause. Oh no, my guy, he's missing an eye. Okay, yeah. Why am I stopping? If anybody's been following the Law of One, Ra stated that there were windows in here. Okay, that we're quarantined, there's a firmament, and that there was windows. I don't know the amount of windows, but he said there were windows, and the book of Enoch is saying 12 open windows. Correlation. Some of you might be thinking on my brainwave, like, yeah. Lots going on. Lots going on. When the sun rises in heaven, it goes forth through this fourth gate 30 days, and by the fourth gate in the west of heaven, on a level with it descends. During that period, the day is lengthened from the day, and the night curtailed from the night for 30 days. And then the day is longer by 2 parts than the night. The day is precisely 10 parts, and the night is 8. The sun goes forth through this fourth gate and sets in it and turns to the fifth gate during 30 days, after which it proceeds from and sets in the fifth gate. Then the day becomes lengthened by a second portion, so that it is 11 parts, which the night becomes shortened and is only 7 parts. The sun now returns to the east, entering the sixth gate and rising and setting in the sixth gate 31 days on account of its signs. At that period, the day is longer than the night, between twice as long as the night, and becomes 12 parts. But the night is shortened and becomes 6 parts. Then the sun rises up, that the day may be shortened and the night lengthened. Seasons. And the sun returns toward the east, entering into the sixth gate, where it rises and sets for 30 days, months. When that period is completed, the day becomes shortened precisely 1 part, so that it is 11 parts, while the night is 7 parts. Then the sun goes from the west, from the sixth gate, and proceeds eastwards, rising in the fifth gate for 30 days, and setting again westwards in the fifth gate of the west. At that period, the day becomes shortened 2 parts and is 10 parts, while the night is 8 parts. Then the sun goes from the fifth gate as it sets in the fifth gate of the west and rises in the fourth gate for 31 days on account of signs setting in the west. This is super astrology. If I couldn't tell you anything about it, I'm telling you right now, this is all astrology, seasons, months, and the period of time that the sun stays out. And yeah, you got me right. Then the sun goes from the gate as it sets in the west, returning to the east, proceeds by the third gate for 30 days, setting in the west at the third gate. At that period, the night is lengthened from the day during 30 mornings, and the day is curtailed from the day during 30 days, the night being 10 parts precisely, and the day 8 parts. The sun now goes from the third gate as it sets in the third gate in the west, but returning to the east, it proceeds by the second gate of the east for 30 days. Like manner also, it sets in the second gate in the west of heaven. At that period, the night is 11 parts and the day 7 parts. Then the sun goes at that time from the second gate as it sets in the second gate in the west, but returns to the east, proceeding by the first gate for 31 days, and sets in the west in the first gate. At that period, at that period, the night is lengthened as much again as the day. It is 12 parts precisely, while the day is 6 parts. The sun has thus completed its beginnings, and a second time goes around for the beginnings. In to the gate it enters for 30 days, and sets in the west, in the opposite part of heaven. At the period the night contracted in its length, a fourth part, that is one portion and becomes 11 parts. The day is 7 parts. Then the sun returns and enters into the second gate of the east. It returns by these beginnings 30 days, rising and setting. At that period, the night is contracted in its length. It becomes 10 parts and the day 8 parts. Then the sun goes from the second gate and sets in the west, but returns to the east and rises in the east. In the third gate, the 31 days setting in the west of heaven. As that period, the night becomes shortened. It is 9 parts, and the night is equal with the day. Equinoxes. The year is precisely 364 days. The lengthening of the day and night and the contraction of the day and night are made to differ from each other by the progress of the sun. Note that Enoch said 364 days, not what we know as 365. Where did we gain a day from? I could tell you now, they switched the calendar a few times. Julian and Gregorian to be most mentioned. Just say. By means of this progress, the day is daily heightened and the night greatly shortened. This is the law and progress of the sun, and its turning when it turns back, turning during 60 days and going forth. This is the great everlasting luminary, that which he names the sun forever and ever. This also is that which goes forth, a great luminary, which is named after its peculiar kind as God commanded. And this it goes in and out, neither slackening nor resting, but running in its own chariot by day and by night. It shines with the 7 portion of light from the moon, but the dimensions of both are equal. I'm just putting this one out there, as a lot of things are coming out in the world right now. I'm not going to lie to say that this is major reason why Enoch was not included in the Bible. Why? I'm going to read that again. Think about this really, think about it. And thus it goes in and out, neither slackening nor resting, but running on in its chariot by day and by night. It shines with a 7th portion of light from the moon, but the dimensions of both are equal. Someone's lying to us. I mean, many of us already know the secrets, what goes on and how we were lied to by NASA, because in Hebrew, NASA means deceiver. And if you look at the NASA logo, you'll see a reptilian tongue. The red, that's a tongue. A reptilian tongue. Deceivers. Why am I pointing this out in the middle of the book? Because people have to realize why this was not in the Bible. Because it's talking about everything that we don't go by this. We do go by the astrology for those people that practice it, but then they call it evil. It's giving you the months. It's telling you the sun. It's telling you the proportions of the sun and the moon, the night and day, right? We just switched over to daylight savings. Okay, it tells you about equal night and day, so that happens twice a year. Summer, winter, right? It spoke about that. It's not saying it in these words, but that's what it said. And 364 days. This is why this is so important to read in the context of now, because we're being lied to. And not to say that people don't believe in the Enoch story. I personally do, because the keys of Enoch, mind-blowing stuff. And I believe it. Let's continue. After this law, I beheld another law of an inferior luminary, the name of which is the moon, and the orb of which is as the orb of heaven. Interesting. Its chariot, which is secretly ascends, the wind blows, and light is given to it by measure. Every month at its exit and entrance, it becomes changed, and its periods are as the periods of the sun. And when in like manner its light is to exist, its light is a seventh portion from the light of the sun. The sun's not lighting the moon, FYI. This, thus it raises, and at its commencement, towards the east goes forth for 30 days. At the same time it appears and becomes to you the beginning of the month. 30 days it is with the sun in the gate from which the sun goes forth. Here she comes. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Back over there. Half of it is in extent 7 portions, 1/2, and the whole of its orb is void of light, except a 7th portion out of the 14 portions of its light. And in a day it receives a 7th portion, or half that portion of its light. Its light is by sevens, by 1 portion, and by the half of a portion it sets with the sun. And when the sun rises, the moon rises with it, receiving half a portion of light. On that night, when it commences its period, previously to the day of the month, the moon sets with the sun. And on that night, it is dark in its 14 portions, that is, in each half. But it rises on that day with 1/7 portion precisely, and its progress declines from the rising of the sun. During the remainder of its period, its light increases to 14 portions. This is where Enoch has it wrong. and I'll tell you why. Although I do believe at that time it raised with the sun, that might be the original moon. What you see up in the sky is not what you think it is. It's a satellite. It's a base. That's why you never see the dark side of the moon. And I know that he was talking about the new moon and all the waning and waxings of the moon and the period of the moon. I get that. But the moon shifts its position in the sky because you're supposed to look up and notice those things. So I can tell you, because I photographed the moon, I have a camera that I use for my artwork, and then I stopped doing my artwork, and I could zoom in super, super, super close to the moon. And I could tell you now, I go out every month when it's full to a very similar spot. You know, it does move in an infinity, supposedly. So I would always see it moved a little bit, but not one full moon. It's here. The next, the full moon is like down the block and out of my sight, where like 2 years ago, I would be able to go every month outside and take photographs of it without an issue. And now I can't even find the damn thing in the night sky. Yep. So just be aware of that. Go look up. Every location's different because it depends what part of the world you're in and how you see the moon. But for me, that thing is shifting in my night sky. Then I saw another progress and regulation, which he effected in the law of the moon. The progress of the moons, and everything relating to them, Uriel showed me, the holy angel who conducted them all. Their stations I wrote down as he showed them to me. I wrote down their months as they occur and the appearance of their light until it is completed in 15 days. In each of its 2 7 portions, it completes all its light at rising and at setting. On stated months, it changes its settings, and on stated months, it makes its progress through each gate. In 2 gates, the moon sets with the sun. In these 2 gates, which are in the mist, in the 3rd and 4th gate, from the 3rd gate, it goes forth for 7 days and makes its circuit. Again, it returns to the gate once the sun goes forth, and in that completes the whole of its light. Then it declines from the sun and enters in the 8 days into the 6th gate and returns in 7 days to the 3rd gate, from which the sun goes forth. When the sun proceeds to the 4th gate, the moon goes forth for 7 days until it passes from the 5th gate. Again, it returns in 7 days to the 4th gate, and completing all its light, declines and passes on by the 1st gate in 8 days, and returns in 7 days to the 4th gate, from which the sun goes forth. Thus I beheld their stations as according to the fixed order of the months, the sun rises and sets. At those times, there is an excess of 30 days belonging to the sun in 5 years. All the days belonging to each year of the 5 years, when completed, amount to 364 days. Well, and to the sun and stars belong 6 days in each of the 5 years. Thus 30 days belongs to them. So that the moon has 30 days less than the sun and stars. The moon brings on all the years exactly, that their stations may come neither two forwards nor two backwards a single day, but that years may be changed with correct precision in 364 days. In 3 years, the days are 1,092. In 5 years, they are 1,820. And in 8 years, 2,912 days. To the moon alone, beholding in 3 years, 1,062 days. In 5 years, it has 50 days less than the sun, for an addition being made to the 1,062 days. In 5 years, there are 1,770 days, and the days of the moon in 8 years are 2,832 days. For its days in 8 years are less than those of the sun by 80 days, which 80 days are its diminution of 8 years. The year that becomes truly complex, according to the station of the moons and the station of the sun, which rise in the different gates, which rise and set in them for 30 days. These are the leaders of the chiefs of the thousands, those who preside over all creation and over all the stars, with the 4 days which are added and never separated from the place allotted them, according to the computation of the year. And these serve 4 days which are not computed in the computation of the year. Respecting them, men greatly err, for these luminaries truly serve in the mansion of the world, 1 day in the first gate, 1 in the third gate, 1 in the fourth, and 1 in the sixth gate. And the harmony of the world becomes complete every 364 state of it. For the signs, the years, the seasons, and the days Uriel showed me, the angel whom the Lord of glory appointed over all the luminaries of heaven and in the world, that they might rule in the face of the sky, and appearing over the earth become conductors of the days and nights, the sun, the moon, the stars, and all the ministers of heaven, which make their current with all the chariots of heaven. Thus Uriel showed me 12 gates open for the circuit of the chariots of the sun in heaven, from which the rays of the sun shoot forth. From these proceed heat over the earth. When they are opened in their stated seasons, they are for the winds and the spirit of dew. When in their seasons they are open to heaven at its extremities. 12 gates I beheld in heaven, at the extremities of the earth, through which the sun, moon, and stars, and all the works of heaven proceed at their rising and setting. Many windows also are open at the right and on the left. One window at the certain season grows extremely hot. So also there are gates from which the stars go forth as they command, in which they setting according to their number. I saw likewise the chariots of heaven running in the world above to the gate, in which the stars turn, which never set. One of these is greater than all, which goes around the whole world. Interesting. At the extremities of the earth, I beheld 12 gates open for all the winds from which they proceeded and blow over the earth. 3 of them are open in the front of heaven, 3 in the west, 3 on the right side of heaven, and 3 on the left. The first 3 are those which are towards the east, 3 are towards the north, 3 behind those which are upon the left, towards the south, and 3 on the west. From 4 of them proceed winds of blessing and of health, and from the 8 proceed winds of punishment. When they are sent to destroy the earth and the heaven above it, all its inhabitants, and all which are in the waters or on dry land. The first of these winds proceeds from the gate termed the eastern. Through the first gate on the east, which inclines southwards. From this goes forth destruction, drought, heat, and perdition. From the second gate, the middle one proceeds equally. There issue from it rain, fruitfulness, health, and dew. And from the third gate northwards proceed cold and drought. After these proceed the south winds, through 3 principal gates. Through their first gate, which inclines eastwards, proceeds a hot wind. But from the middle gate proceed grateful odor, dew, rain, health, and life. From the third gate, which is westwards, proceed dew, rain, blight, and destruction. After those are the winds to the north, which is called the sea. They proceed from 3 gates. The first gate is that which is on the east, inclining southwards. From the proceed dew, rain, blight, and destruction. From the middle direct gate proceed rain, dew, life, and health. And from the third gate, which is westwards, inclining towards the south, proceed mist, frost, snow, rain, and blight. After these, in the 4th quarter, are the winds to the west. From the first gate inclining northwards proceed dew, rain, frost, cold, snow, and chill. From the middle gate proceed rain, health, and blessings. And from the last gate, which is southwards, proceed drought, destruction, scorching, and perdition. The account of the 12 gates of the 4 quarters of heaven is ended. All their laws, all their infliction of punishment, and the health produced by them, have I explained to thee, my son, Methuselah. The first wind is called the eastern, because it is the first. The second is called the south, because the Most High there descends, and frequently there descends he who is blessed forever. The western wind has the name of diminution, because there all the luminaries of heaven are diminished and descended. The 4th wind, which is the name of the north, is divided into 3 parts, one of which is for the habitation of men, another for seas of water, with valleys, woods, rivers, shady places, and snow, and the 3rd part contains paradise. Seven high mountains I beheld, higher than all the mountains of the earth, from which frost proceeds, while days, seasons, and years depart and pass away. 7 rivers I beheld upon earth, greater than all rivers, one which takes its course from the west into a great sea. It flows, water flows. to come from the north to the sea, their waters flowing into the Erythraean Sea on the east. And with respect to the remaining four, they take their course in the cavity of the north to their sea, the Erythraean Sea, into or poured into a great sea, where also it is said there is a desert. 7 great islands I saw in the sea, and on the earth. 7 in the great sea. Reminds me of the Pirates of the Caribbean, where they flipped. These evil bastards tell you. The names of the sun are these: one Arias, the other Thomas. The moon has 4 names. The first is Asonia, the second Ebola, the third Benez, and the fourth Ire. These are the 2 great luminaries, whose orbs are as the orbs of heaven, and the dimensions of both are equal. In the orb of the sun, there is a 7th portion of light, which is added to it from the moon. I'm going to read that again. In the orb of the sun, there is a 7th portion of light, which is added to it from the moon. I love this part of the book. But again, reading it in the time of now. By measure, it is put in until a 7th portion of the light of the sun is departed. They enter into the western gate, circuit by the north, and through the eastern gate go forth over the face of heavens. When the moon rises, it appears in heaven, and the half of a 7th portion of light is all which it is in. In 14 days, the whole of its light is completed. By 3 quintuples light, it put it into it, until in 15 days its light is completed according to the signs of the year. It has 3 quintuplets. The moon has a half of a 7th portion. During its diminution, on the first day, its light decreases a 14th part. On the second day, it decreases a 13th part. On the third day, a 12th part. On the 4th day, an 11th part. On the 5th day, a 10th part. On the 6th day, a 9th part. On the 7th day, it decreases an 8th part. On the 8th day, it decreases a 7th part. On the 9th day, it decreases a 6th part. On the 10th day, it decreases a 5th part. On the 11th day, it decreases a 4th part. On the 12th day, it decreases a 3rd part. On the 13th day, it decreases a 2nd part. On the 14th day, it decreases a half of its 7th part. And on the 15th day, the whole remainder of its light is consumed. New moon. On stated months, the moon has 29 days. It also has a period of 28 days. Uriel likewise showed me another regulation when light is poured into the moon, how it is poured into it from the sun. All the time that the moon is in progress with its light, it is poured into it in the presence of the sun until its light is in 14 days completed in heaven. And when it is wholly extinguished, its light is consumed in heaven. And on the first day, it is called the new moon. For on that day, light is received into both. It becomes precisely completed on the day that the sun descends into the west, while the moon ascends at night from the east. The moon then shines all the night until the sun rises before it, when the moon disappears in the turn before the sun. Where light comes to the moon, there again it decreases until all its light is extinguished, and the days of the moon passes away. Then its orb remains solitary without light. During 3 months, it affects in 30 days, each month its period, and during 3 more months, it affects it in 29 days each. These are the times in which it affects its decrease in the first period, and in the first gate, namely in 177 days. And at that time of its going forth during 3 months, it appears 30 days each, and during 3 more months, it appears 29 days each. In the night, it appears for each 20 days as the face of a man, and in the day as heaven, for it is nothing also except the light. Whoa. Now, my son Methuselah, I have shown thee everything, and the account of every ordinance of the stars of heaven is finished. He showed me every ordinance respecting these, which takes place at all times, in all seasons, under every influence, in all years, at the arrival and under the rule of each, during every month and every week. He showed me also the decreases of the moon, which is effected in the 6th gate, for in the 6th gate it is light consumed. From this is the beginning of the month, and it decreases its effect in the 6th gate in its period until 177 days are completed, according to the mode of computation by weeks, 25 weeks and 2 days. Its period is less than that of the sun, according to the ordinance of the stars, by 5 days and 1/2 year precisely. When their visible situation is completed, such is the appearance and likeness of every luminary, which Uriel, the great angel who conducts them, showed to me. In those days Uriel answered and said to me, Behold, I have shown thee all things, O Enoch, and all things have I revealed to thee. Thou seest the sun, the moon, and those which conduct the stars of heaven, which cause all their operations, seasons, and arrivals to return. In the days of the sinners, the year shall be shortened. Their seed shall be backward in their profile, prolific soil, and everything done on earth shall be subvert and disappear in its season. The rain shall be restrained, and heaven shall stand still. In those days, the fruits of the earth shall be late and not flourish in their seasons. And in their season, the fruits of the trees shall be withholden. The moon shall change its laws and not be seen at its proper period. But in those days shall heaven be seen, and barrenness shall take place in the borders of the great chariots in the west. Heaven shall shine more than when illuminated by the orders of light, while many chiefs among the stars of authority shall err, perverting their ways and works. Those shall not appear in their season who command them, and all the classes of the stars shall be shut up against sinners. The thoughts of those who dwell on earth shall transgress within them, and they shall be perverted in all their ways. They shall transgress and think themselves gods, while evil shall be multiplied among them. And punishment shall come upon them, so that all of them shall be destroyed. Did you not hear just what was said? Now, he said, O Enoch, look on the book which heaven has gradually dropped down, and reading that which is written in it, understand every part of it. Then I looked at all which was written, and understood all, reading the book and everything written in it, all the works of man, and all of the children of flesh upon earth during the generations of the world. Immediately after I blessed the Lord, the King of glory, who has thus forever formed the whole workmanship of the world. And I glorified the Lord on account of his long suffering and blessing towards the children of the world. At that time, I said, Blessed is the man who shall die righteous and good, against whom no catalogue of crime has been written, and with whom integrity is not found. Then those three holy ones caused me to approach and placed me on the earth before the door of my house. And they said unto me, Explain everything to Methuselah thy son, and inform all thy children, that no flesh shall be justified before the Lord, for he is their creator. During 1 year we will leave thee with thy children, until thou shalt again recover thy strength, that thou mayest instruct thy family. Write these things, and explain them to all thy children. But in another year they shall take thee from the midst of them, and thy heart shall be strengthened. For the elect shall point out righteousness to the elect. The righteous with the righteous shall rejoice, congratulating each other, but sinners with sinners shall die. And perverted with the perverted shall be drowned, or firing squad, or guillotine, or hanging. Those likewise who act righteously shall die on account of their works of man, and shall be gathered together on account of the works of the wicked. In those days they finished conversing with me, and I returned to my fellow men, blessing the lords of the world. I'm going to end it there. Why I'm ending it there is because I want everybody to really understand why I'm reading these books, why I'm going section through section, because I want you to absorb the work. This is not easy to understand right off the bat. It's this particular version of the Book of Enoch is very old, written well, and I've seen other forms of the book translated differently. We're going through this again now. So what one could do is put your strife, your greed, your 7 deadly sins. And guess what? We are human and we have vices. Those don't go away. we all have habits, we all have, things we like to do and things we want to strive for. And, YOLO, we only live once, consciously in this vehicle. So yes, we do want to enjoy what we have when we have it. I get it. I get that. But being humble and being gracious, being a good person, doing good acts for others, being charitable, understanding that we're all one human family, that this division nonsense has to end, understanding that what is happening in our world is an inversion and that it must be stopped. And it's not necessarily on a religious basis, but I'm sorry, there are two genders, and then there are people who are born with both. But still that. And what's happening now is they're showing you what the agenda, the evil people's agenda is. So stop falling for it. Yes, there's complications with souls. We all should love one another regardless, but people get paid to do what they're doing right now. To show you how unjust this world could have been if it wasn't put to an end by the righteous of God. God's literally stepping in right now. Creator, infinite source, whatever you want to call it, source. Source is stepping in. There are too many good people suffering on this planet unnecessarily because of deeds and greed. And to this day, there are a lot of greedy people. And granted, you earn it, you can do what you want with it, and that's fine. But when you manipulate it and you steal for it and you collect it with false premises, then that becomes a problem. A lot of things within the next month, it's coming out quicker and quicker and quicker. And I want everybody who's still not there yet with my depth of thinking and my research that I've done, can't talk about it much on here, but I've done thousands of hours of reading, researching different types of topics. I'm focusing on the ones that I feel that most people can accept and can dive into and start growing their minds. While I try to entertain those who already know a lot of this stuff, but they're getting it, and they're getting it in a different way, because I'm putting a lot of the books that I'm reading into the sense of the time and here and now. Even though these were written way long ago. I'm trying to branch future proofs past. And we're meeting it in the middle. So with that, there's going to be a lot of things. I get emotional about it because I just feel sorry for a lot of people. Take yourselves, if you did that, to the doctor and get a checkup. Check your heart, your lungs, and your blood. I'm not joking. I'm not putting you in a place of fear. I know a lot of people are fine and will be fine. If you're feeling any sort of discomfort, or you notice that you're tired more often, that you're, wanting to lay in bed a little bit more often, please go get yourself checked out, and especially if your kids got them. I'm not here to scare you. Doesn't hurt, right? Doesn't hurt to get checked up. I went to the doctor yesterday. My blood pressure is more normal than it's ever been. I usually run stupid low without having to go to the hospital low. And I'm finally like normal numbers. Finally, never been there ever in my life. Finally, I'm like, wow, I'm getting there. And, you know, I went to the rheumatologist, by the way. I don't really go to my doctors anymore. I don't like them. It's not because I don't like them. They're really nice and amazing people. But I don't align with their agendas. When I asked for exemptions, they got paid to tell me to go kill myself. Not in those words. Knowing of all my allergies that I've acquired in my adulthood, nonetheless, I was on biologics for 13 years and in low dose chemotherapy. And that has caused a lot of issues with my immune system that I'm still mending my immune system. And with that, I've already was an allergy ball as a child. I was allergic to everything. And I had allergy shots, reasons why I can have cats. I was deathly allergic to cats and dogs. I would welt up and wheeze. I used to be on a nebulizer, pumps all over the place, histamines, all of it. Wasn't fun. And as an adult, I acquired a chlorine allergy, which is why I cannot bleach my hair. I can't clean with bleach either. I have to use gloves. I can't breathe it in for long periods of time. I start I'm also allergic to soy, which is in everything. That's an adult acquired allergy. You can acquire an allergy at any point in your life. And when I got my flu shot 2 years ago, happened. I was given a nice dose of Benadryl and told not to take a vaccine again that have those ingredients in it. So yeah, I'm just sharing my story because I feel the days are getting slow. It's narrowing down and more people need to be aware. And with that, sending each and every one of you love and light. Please go take care of yourselves. Most of you are going to be fine. The majority of you will be fine. Don't be in fear. If you don't feel good, please just go to the doctor and get yourself checked out, because early intervention is the best intervention. Love and light to everybody. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.